Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
No Royce, no Souche.
Nope.
Hauser bugs out, right?
No Rook.
No Rook. Manny's on his way.
No
You and
Hyde.
me.
No Kenny.
We're here for 3 hours, baby.
You know,
Let's go. All right?
Can I let you in on a little secret?
Yeah.
I love working this week. I only took yesterday off because I needed to for travel purposes for Christmas. I love working this week. Nobody's here. The traffic is amazing. You get a good parking spot.
Yeah.
You know,
Although I get it, I pulled in today figuring there was one spot.
oh really?
So some of the some of the suits are working today.
Oh, I bet maybe that's the case.
The suits are working today.
No,
End of
after
year,
three,
man. End of year.
yeah, that's
You know,
true. That's true.
I got a few friends of mine that are salesmen, and yeah, they ain't taking the last week of the year off.
But
man.
I'd rather burn a vacation day, you know, when it's in July, when I want to be
I'm
outside.
with you. And this is always a great fill-in week for me because, I mean, I worked a little this morning, had lunch with my son, came back, rolled in here.
Perfect.
I got work to do. I should have worked the day after Christmas, but we had 52 people at our house, 50 to 60 people.
Wow.
And
So you hosted. Okay.
well, we always host.
You
we
do,
always have,
okay.
and it is a knockdown drag-out. Last year, some people went to bed at 8 in the morning. I'm not kidding you. I went to bed at like
What?
1. Oh, it's... So when I wake up in the morning, I look at the house and go, I can't leave my wife with this.
So is this a combination? Is it all family?
It's all family
Okay.
and friends that come over, and it kind of starts, but, it's... We end up playing games, and then sometimes it gets a little crazy.
Oh, that's spectacular.
It's not your normal Christmas.
Sure.
And the big table with all the booze on it, I came out the next morning and went, wow.
It's all gone.
Oh, it was all pretty much gone. And believe me, I don't underbuy because my thought on those things is booze doesn't go bad.
No.
So just buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if hardly anybody drinks, it sits around. It's not going anywhere, right?
The guys that I do the beer show every week with, my friends at Elevated Beer, Wine, and Spirits, they've been a part of the show since day one. So they own 2 liquor stores. They have the one that's in South Minneapolis and the one that's in White Bear Lake. They are different people these 2 weeks. The week kind of leading up to Christmas and then the tail end of going into the new year. Because all they do is they're just constantly at the store because that's what people do. They just buy booze in bulk and they've got to keep up with demand.
Yeah.
Because that, just like you, everybody's going there buying a whole bunch of stuff because they know they're going to need it and they know it's not going to go bad.
So here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our guests bring beer. Well, and one of the beauties of winter is like we got a house and we got like an upstairs deck and a downstairs deck. We got these big sliding doors. You can just put them outside.
Sure.
But when it's 5 below,
You really got to be careful.
it freezes.
Yep.
So a bunch of the people left, and there was like a case of beer sitting outside that was frozen. Do you have to chuck it?
Did it explode?
no.
Did the can explode?
No.
Was it cans or bottles?
Cans.
If it didn't explode, just bring them inside, let them thaw.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. It was Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Oh.
Do they still make that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they do.
Very, very, very popular with the hipster crowd.
Yeah, that's who
PBRs.
brought them over,
Okay.
the PBR. So, the kids were around. They said, "You going to drink the PBR?" I said, "I doubt it."
I
So they
like
stick 'em.
PBR, but I can't have more than a couple because it gives me the gurgly stomach.
Yeah, that's.
But I do like it. I do like Pabst.
So it's
Blue
not
Ribbon.
bad.
No, God, no.
Yeah, well,
but
that's
and the
good.
other thing is, you were mentioning the frozen beer. So this became a subject of debate on GL a couple of months ago. I was given a garage fridge for the first time.
Oh yeah.
So I had it in. I put it in. I would say tail end of the summer, early part of the fall.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I loved it. Oh, it's just, I love every part of it. So, but what I discovered yesterday morning,
Oh yeah.
I went into because I also have like waters and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I went to go grab. I had a bottle of protein water that was in there, and it was completely froze.
Oh, yeah.
And I freaked out because I had it stocked for the week. I thought, oh God, what am I going to do?
It is a problem.
So I had to bring everything in the house. And,
Yes.
And the wife looks at me and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Honey, we can't let all of the stuff go bad." And she said, "Well, just leave it out there." I said, "I can't. It's going to freeze it'll explode. And
you
then
like beer.
And then I don't want to, exactly. I don't want it to go bad. I don't want to lose all this inventory that I've been stocking up for this time of the year.
It is a problem when the temperature gets this cold. You know, I figure that my garage, which is attached to my house, but my garage is not heated, it's usually about 20 to 25 degrees warmer than outside. Like this morning, I got in my car and the garage was about 18.
Sure.
And outside it was like 8 below.
Yep.
So, so when it gets below like 10 degrees outside, the stuff's going to freeze.
Yes.
In your refrigerator. It happens. You get used to it. I've had a garage fridge forever. In fact, my story about the garage fridge is great. We had an extra fridge in this condo that we sold. This was about 3 houses ago now for me because I move a lot. And the people that were buying from us were, I'll say we're assholes. Okay. They just were. And they were complaining about everything. Okay. And so we were moving out the morning, like we were supposed to have the house cleared by 1. They showed up like the day before. And, you know, the house we're cleaning and there's stuff in boxes and it's a mess. Well, we're going to have to postpone the closing. I said, you get the house tomorrow at 1. You'll have the house tomorrow at 1.
Right, it'll be ready to go.
I said, what was I supposed to do with my stuff? Where am I going to put it? I'm moving in the morning. That's how it works. You know, that the day when someone's coming in and someone's going out, it's, you know, you got to kind of work with each other, right? Because nothing works that smoothly. My last house that I just sold this summer, the other people showed up. We said you can have it at 1. We had the closing at noon. We went back to my house at 1. There were still a few things there. The movers were moving. These people were super nice. I said, hey, I got this extra TV. I don't want it. You want to keep it? The guy goes, great. He was really nice, just mellow. It's going to be another hour. Okay. So these people said, there better not be anything in this house when we get here tomorrow at 1. That's what they said. So I went and I took out the purchase agreement where you list what you keep. And my wife and I decided anything that is not written down here is coming with us. I mean, we took all of the, I was against this, but my wife was charged up. We took all the pamphlets for like all the appliances, you know, that you have like in a drawer.
Okay.
That wasn't on the list. The little things that go in the toilet holders, the little things that you hold the toilet paper. We took all those.
You took the
little ring,
holder?
the ring. Yeah, we took, because it wasn't on there. They said, and I wasn't going to take the fridge, the extra fridge.
Oh.
We took it, and I've had that ever since.
Remind me never to buy a house from you.
No, I would not have done that if they weren't so mean to me.
Well, what's weird is why would they have shown up a day before? Did they think that was the closing day?
No, I don't know what it was, but it was irritating to me.
Okay.
And so, you know, we took everything. Everything was out of the house. I told my wife, I said, leave the pamphlets for like, you know, this water softener. You know how you have like the manuals?
Said, no.
She said everything's coming with.
We own this pamphlet.
We never heard any complaints from them, so we had cleared everything out. But that did get us into the garage fridge, which is unbelievable.
It's a lifesaver.
I'd like to have. I don't have a basement in my house. If I had a basement fridge would be better because then you don't have the freezer.
And that was the option I was debating about. What would I rather do? Would I rather have the extra fridge downstairs, or would I rather have it in the garage? And for
garage
me,
is better.
Garage is better.
Except for you have the freezer
Except for these couple of stretches where we have this brutally cold weather. But I thought, okay, well, I'm going to use it more in the summertime when I'm mowing the lawn. I'm going to want to have a cold one on a Saturday when I'm cutting the grass. I don't have to run all the way downstairs to grab one.
Now, my favorite kind of gifts that I get are gifts that it's something that when I get it, I go, man, is that cool? But probably something I would never buy for myself. So it's hard to find it. Or something I really need, like a screwdriver without a cord. What is it called? A
cordless screwdriver.
Cordless screwdriver. There you go. Because they're like $100.
Sure.
You know, and you need one, and you use it a couple times, but you don't really feel like spending $100 on it.
And that's something, you would never
I love
go
when
get
I
for
get
yourself.
a gift like that. So that is something I really want. But when I'm at the store buying it, I feel badly about it.
Sure.
Okay, that's the perfect gift for me. And they got us, because we bought this house on a lake. We got a deck, and they bought us one of those like super heaters you'll see like in restaurants that are outside.
Oh, really?
Now that was a great. Kids got us that. That was a great gift. I haven't opened it up yet, but you can sit it out there like if it's even in Minnesota, not in the middle of the summer, but if you're out there like maybe in like early June and it's a nice afternoon and you're sitting out there and then the sun starts going down, it gets a little chilly. You pop that heater on.
So is it like not an NFL sidelines one where it's blowing it out?
It's like a big tower and it comes over and it glows. You'll see them in restaurants.
Yes, okay.
Now that is great.
And you can keep that on the deck and all that, and it won't affect the wood or anything on the deck?
No.
Okay.
It runs on propane. Then the heater's like up high. You've seen it.
Oh, yeah. Almost like a canopy style.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, that is incredible.
That is a cool gift.
Because I would never think of buying it. I'm
Now-
sure they're a couple $100. I mean, I don't know what they are. But
Will it make weather like this suitable?
I doubt
or
that.
Is it not going to be that?
I don't think it'd be that good. No, but,
Okay.
but yeah, I suppose if it's like 30 degrees, well, if we went outside in the winter, we'd probably go down by where we have the fire pit and sit down there. But you can move it down there.
Sure.
It's on. You can move it. I mean, it runs on propane.
You know, the other thing, too, does it keep the bugs away?
It might. I don't know.
Because, you know, that's the one thing I mean, I love living here, but that's the one thing I hate about summer is
it's bad.
sitting outside when the bugs are bad. That's awful.
It is. When we come back, we may get to sports, but there's one little news story I saw when I got here a little early that kind of blew my mind. We'll have to talk about that when we come back. You know, sometimes we forget, or I do, that when you're on like a big-time show, you kind of will become a superstar, even though, for example, I really like Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
I've been a fan of it for years, and it ebbs and flows. You know, but there's
Do
a
you
lot
still watch it religiously?
what I do is I tape it a lot
Okay.
because I still watch it quite a bit. Do you watch it anymore?
I will catch it. Mostly I catch clips online.
Yeah, and that's a
I
good way.
I can't even remember the last time I sat down and watched it live when
And
it was on.
It's great to like DVR it, and then
Yes.
you've got nothing else to watch. You spin through it, and you know, some work, some don't. But you know, the two guys that do Weekend Update, and I've never been a huge fan of Weekend Update. You know, it's been around forever, right? Going back to Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin. You know, when he would call you ignorant.
Yep.
You know, I probably shouldn't use that word on. You know, and I was watching the old Christmas special, and the classic old one when Dan Aykroyd plays the guy making the toys with
Bag o' Glass.
Bag o' Glass with Murphy Brown. What's her name? Candace Bergen.
Yes.
Playing the consumer reporter. Bag o' Glass.
Johnny Switchblade.
Yeah, Johnny Switchblade. No, and he goes. The real name is Johnny Switchblade Action Pimp or something. Yeah, and he goes, it's a bag of glass.
That was a pretty
your
good
kids are
bit,
going to pick it
yeah.
up anyway. We just put it in the bag for him. You know, it's a.
And then he'd have like a Nerf dart and say, look at how dangerous this
that's right.
toy is.
No, a Nerf ball,
Or
and
that's what it
shoves
was.
it in his mouth and falls.
Look, it's a choking
on it.
hazard.
Yeah, exactly. But the two guys that are on there are Colin Jost and Michael Che. Is that how he pronounces it?
Okay. I'm
you
not
know
sure.
who Colin Jost is, though. You know what I'm talking about.
I think so. Yes.
He looks like he's about 12, and he's really kind of smarmy funny.
Yes.
And he's smart, and he's you know, I think they're very good. But I got in here early, and I'm kind of spinning through the internet, and he is seriously dating. Now this just blew me away.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up his picture to make sure I'm thinking.
Just
of the
look
right
up,
guy.
yeah, but now you'll see who he is. He's kind of this. He looks like he's a kid. He's 35 years old.
How do you spell his last name?
Jost, Jost, Colin Jost. And he always acts. He's one of those guys that he always, he has that the sense that he's just smarter than everybody else.
Yeah. He
which
does
is
have
funny.
That. He looks like a skinnier version of who's the new late night guy that everybody's all raving about that does the car karaoke
Oh
bit.
yeah, Michael Carden, James Carden.
James Carden. He kind of looks like his.
Yeah, only this kid's
much thinner, but
and he's a good looking kid.
yeah,
Colin Jost.
yeah.
He is like, I see it today. It comes out that he is seriously considering about proposing to this woman that he's been dating.
Okay.
And she was a recent hostess on Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
Big star, and by many people is often considered maybe the best looking woman in Hollywood or sexiest woman in Hollywood. She's in the conversation
Wow.
on a regular basis. That who he is seriously with is, now I want to is Scarlett Johansson.
What?
Yes. Scarlett, now wouldn't you agree?
Good for him.
She's always in that list.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She's right up there.
In fact, she's even on that other list that we all know. And when you're a married person, you've got the list of 5.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. She's on that list.
She's on that list and has been since me and my beloved have been together.
Well, something about me.
Honey,
Because,
sorry, if Scarlett's coming calling, I gotta take the call.
It's if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, when Cheryl gave Larry, he gave him on their 10th anniversary, he got one free pass.
Got the hall pass.
And he went to the cleaning lady, the woman who owned it was played by Jean Garsh. No, what's her name? Very sexy, older actress. I'd have to look her up, but she played a lot of very sexy.
Very funny episode.
But it just struck me. One, he's older than her. He's 35 and she's 33. I thought she'd be older than him, and that just seems like he has stepped up. Boy, I mean, but I wouldn't imagine the guy that's doing Weekend Update
and
could snare Scarlett Johansson. They'll probably never get married.
Here's the thing: women love funny.
They do.
Women love funny. Not that I'm any.
And she does the show, so they work all week.
Uh-huh.
He's part of what the guys that do Weekend Update, they're writers. So he's probably, he's doing a lot of the writing. And, then they have the after party and, one thing leads to another and there you go.
I'm going to have to verify this, but because, I'm a big ScarJo guy. I love Scarlett Johansson,
I
but
too.
I believe she's already had at least 2, if not 3, failed marriages.
She has. I think they say she's been twice wed, and she has a 3-year-old daughter.
Because she was married. Not that that means anything. I'm just saying that, yeah, you could propose, but that's not necessarily going to lead to long-term happiness.
No.
Because having a marriage in that, I could not imagine having to be married and be famous at that same. That would be horrible, because every single element of your personal life is always exposed.
I will occasionally give movie reviews here because this kind of morphs into that. While I was busy cleaning the house, I watched a couple. I never go to the movie theaters anymore. I do not like going to movie theaters.
I don't either.
And it's not that it's that. Why should I go outside, sit in a cramped seat, spend all this money on popcorn when I can sit at home with on-demand movies, and even the ones you have to buy are like $7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's like nothing compared to what you spend going on, and you can watch almost any movie you want in your living room, and you can pause it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a cocktail.
I saw it.
It's wonderful.
I watched an article. I saw something online yesterday about, movie theaters are basically saying we got to get people to come back. Well, don't charge so much, and it's not even necessarily the ticket to the theater. It's $15 for a bucket of popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 young kids. They're not going to sit still for 2.5 hours. So even if it's a movie that they like, they're not going to sit still and watch it. I just don't want to deal with that, especially this time of the year.
And I'm not a guy that's blown away by special effects. Everybody tells me, if you're going to see Dunkirk, you got to see it in the theater. And I get when people say that because apparently it's this bigger than life sound, and you're not going to get that at home, even if you have a big screen and a surround sound. Okay. But most movies aren't like that, right? Most movies, it doesn't really matter if you got a big screen TV. And so I watch them all the time. So I did watch it. Had come I just scrolled through and I watched Pop Star. Have you seen Pop Star with not Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg?
Okay.
And it's a spoof on he's in a rap group called the Style Boys with 3 white kids from the suburb. Okay. And and the thing that's funny about it is, if anybody that's watched Saturday Night Live knows that Andy Samberg, especially when he's with, the famous one that he did with
Justin Timberlake,
which was also on the Christmas special, Something in a Box.
Yes.
That he can do that stuff. He can do spoofs of rap, and he's really good at it.
He's very underrated, I think. Andy Samberg, and I didn't think he'd have much of a career after Saturday Night Live.
But now
he's very
on Brooklyn,
funny. That show is really good.
Yeah,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So they're doing these rap songs that, they are hilarious.
Okay.
They're really, they're well done and they're funny, but they're a joke, right?
Sure.
But in the movie, they're like the cutting edge, right? And then they have all these interviews. It's like they're doing like the movie's kind of a documentary on his life and how he rose and then fell and then came back, the typical story, right? But the funny part is the music industry is all in on this. It was made by Apatow, made it. Timberlake's in it. And they're making fun of you have these great black rappers saying Style Boys changed my life.
Oh, man, they revolutionized the industry.
And they said when Style Boys did Donkey Roll, it became my life. So they have this other rapper come on who then tours with them, and he's played by an actor because I've seen him before. And he has this song called Humblest. I'm the humblest. I'm the humblest. So then he's at like the quote unquote, they call it the Poppies, but it's the Grammys.
Okay.
And he's next to Mariah Carey in the movie. And she goes, your song Humblest really spoke to me because I consider myself one of the most humble actresses. So it's very funny.
Okay.
So I would highly recommend Pop Star as a comedy. When you have a comedy like that, you don't expect it to be, every joke hits. And some of them are kind of ridiculous, but it is worth it just for the lines they come up with.
Sure.
It's absolutely. And then at the end, when the Style Boys come back together, they sing they have Michael Bolton sings with them. It doesn't get any better than that. We may get to sports. We may not.
But now we're going to get to money. The Your Money Now report. It comes to us courtesy from our friends down in Owatonna, Minnesota at Federated Insurance. Bruce Vail is the man. He's also a pop star. He's waiting in the wings, and he's got your money now.
I like how you guys think you can't enjoy a cocktail at the theater.
What do you mean?
See...
Yeah, but you bring a flask. That's much different.
You get yourself an arm cast.
All right.
You hollow it out a little bit,
okay,
and a couple of straws, and you're good to go.
See,
I'll send you the diagram.
That's why you're here. Life advice.
That's true. Stocks struggled for direction today, but we did end up with some small gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 28 points to 24,774. The Nasdaq Composite picked up 3 points. The S&P 500 gained just 2 points. Pending home sales ticked up 0.2% in November. That was a bit below expectations. The National Association of Realtors Index of pending home sales tracks real estate transactions in which a contract has been signed, but the deal hasn't closed. Low inventory levels continue to be a headwind for home sales. The Canadian bicycle company Rocky Mountain Bicycles is recalling more than 3,000 mountain bikes sold under the Altitude, Instinct, and Pipeline brands. The company said the brake cable housing on the bikes was not secured properly during manufacturing, which can lead to brake failure and a crash. The bikes were sold at Rocky Mountain dealers, and those dealers will make free repairs if you need the brakes. I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Thank you, Bruce. We'll wait for that album to drop soon.
Oh, it's coming, baby.
Awesome. Well, we'll get another report from you in about 23 hours.
What other sports talk show in the country on December 27th is going to talk about the NCAA basketball tournament?
Oh,
but
boy.
I'm going to do it because I have been a long time proponent that even though the NCAA basketball tournament is wildly, what?
I'm trying to think if I remember this. You want to do away with the first round.
What I want to do is I think I'm a proponent of taking what is obviously a huge sporting success in this country.
Yep.
Right? It's everybody loves it. But that doesn't, when Tiger Woods was winning golf in the early 2000s, he changed his swing. And everyone said he was crazy. And then he got better. Okay? Now, he later got worse, but that was unrelated to that change. Okay? You can take something very good and make it even better. And I'm going to give you, what I've always said they should do is get rid of the stupid conference tournaments. Okay? Now, I know they make money. You'd have to come up with some way around that.
I was going to say good luck with that.
Yeah, and then every team makes the tournament. Just like high school. All 351 teams make the tournament.
I misunderstood. I thought I remember having a different conversation with you.
And I've actually figured it out, but like you take like the top, so the first round is going to have to be between, you take 2 times is 4, which is 8, which is 32, which is 64, which is 132. So it's 264 teams.
Okay.
You take the bottom 264 teams. So that would mean like the top 75 get a first round bye.
All right.
And those play down from 262 from 264 to 132, then you put everybody in a bracket, or you figure it out some way, and then everybody plays. So in other words, if you were like one of the top teams, you'd have to play 2 games. You could play them at your home arena to get to the final 6. You could get down to the final 64 with the top teams playing 2 games, and if you're one of the crappy teams, you'd have to win 3 to get there. You could do it in 1 week. The week of the conference tournaments. So now you have 64 teams that aren't being picked by a selection committee.
That are earning their way.
Yeah, and you're going to have an occasional weird team that's going to come up and bite somebody, right? And now you've got 64 teams, and arguably they'd be the best 64 teams. Here's why. Because we all know a number 1 seed has never lost to a 16 seed. Because there's all these teams that are terrible, that are in these terrible conferences that get automatic bids. And I don't want to say they shouldn't get automatic bids. This way, they're all in. If you can win 3 games, so now you get down to 64 teams, and then the committee goes into a room with those 64 teams, and they unveil the brackets. Still, now you're going to see. So now you know who's in.
So they're not selecting, they're seeding at that point.
Then they seed. They take the 64 and they seed and put them in regions, and it's the same thing that we have now, only you don't have the number 1. In other words, the number 1 team isn't going to be playing some team they're going to beat by 40. They're going to be playing like a mid to low level Big Ten team. So you're going to have like Duke playing maybe Ohio State. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of 16 seeds that'll win. They'll probably win 10% of the time instead of 0% of the time.
I don't hate this idea, but let me ask you this. Doesn't that then just basically make your regular season irrelevant?
No, because it's where you're seated. Right now it's basically irrelevant, right? I mean, half the teams get in, but anyway. But
okay.
Here's why I think this is the case. I saw this story today. There's a little school called Texas Southern, coached by Mike Davis. If you remember Mike Davis, he used to coach in Indiana.
Yes.
Mike Davis has a dream that he's going to win the national championship at Texas Southern.
Okay.
I doubt that, given the fact that he pretty much, I think he got Indiana to the championship game.
And they lost to Maryland.
Did they lose? They lost to Maryland, yes. I agree. And it was kind of a surprise that both those teams got there that year. Well, this is the schedule that he's played, non-conference schedule. He's played 13 non-conference games, all on the road. Gonzaga, loss. Ohio State, loss. Syracuse, loss. Washington State, loss. Kansas, loss. Clemson, loss. Oakland, lost. Toledo, lost. Oregon, lost. Baylor, lost. Wyoming, lost. TCU, lost. And BYU, lost. He played all major conference programs with the exception of Toledo and Oakland. And Oakland's always good. We've seen them. They
make the tournament.
They make the tournament.
Yeah.
They always play Michigan State and have given them games.
Yep.
In fact, when I went down and saw the Gophers play in Milwaukee, when they were playing Xavier, Oakland played earlier in that round and gave somebody a heck of a game. Might have even won. I don't remember. But so they're 0-13. They are favored.
I like his chances.
They are favored to win their conference.
Oh, wow.
So this team is the best team in the SWAC, Southwest Athletic Conference.
And they get an automatic bid if they win their conference.
So they are now 0-13. And they are likely to be, if they win their conference tournament, we don't even have to win the regular season conference, but they're the heavy favorites to win that conference. And but the reason he does this is brilliant. Here's what he says. First of all, he says, I just want to win a national championship. People are saying there's no way you can do that at Texas Southern. It's like when Phil Knight started Nike, when there were Converse and Adidas, people said, why would you do that? But look at what Nike does now. Now, I can remember when Nike came out, and everyone thought that was a joke. I remember this because that was when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old, and the kind of sneakers you wore said everything about you.
Okay.
There were Puma guys, which I was, and there were Adidas guys. And we were all, I'm a Puma guy. I'm an Adidas guy. And there was, I'm not kidding you, there was huge amongst my age group.
When did Nike unveil?
Around then.
Early 80s?
And then Nike came
Late
and they had, to me, I always thought it looked like they just took the Puma logo and flipped it upside down and put a little twist on it.
Okay.
I thought it was lame. Right? Nike was lame. Nobody wore, it was lame.
And then they got Jordan.
Yeah,
and then
they're not lame anymore, right?
History.
They've blown everybody away. Now, is Mike Davis at Texas Southern going to do what Phil Knight was able to do? I doubt it. But that's not the point. The reason he does this, listen to this. This is just a further joke of NCAA basketball. There's also a monetary aspect to the schedule. Remember, he's played all 13 games on the road.
He's getting paid every time he goes on the road.
In 2016, Davis said the basketball team only had to give $350, so they made $900,000 in 2016. $900,000 from their non-conference schedule in 2016 by playing all these road games. And they had to give $350,000 directly to the athletic department, but the athletic department let them keep $550,000 just for basketball. I mean, this is they're in the SWAC. They're playing like at a high school gym, right? Mm-hmm. So he says, these games help the basketball's bottom line. This is what he says. He goes, to have a home game, for Texas Southern to have a home game, you've got to pay the officials $4,000 to $5,000. The people working the scorer's table are another $2,500. So in order for us to if we have a home game, we've got to clear $10,000 to make it worthwhile. We are not going to clear $10,000, and I don't want to waste my time playing NAIA teams. If we play a lower team, nobody's going to come in and see it. The math is simple. So he figures, he recruits the kids and says, you're going to play big-time basketball, and then you're going to be prepared for the tournament. That's all good strategy. Okay, it's really good strategy. But what's a joke about this is that a team like this, who can't even come, is going to be in the tournament. It's going to be one of the final 64. They shouldn't be one of the final 64. They should be in there's 351 Division 1A teams. Have them all go. 1 week, you pare it down to 64, and then you start your tournament.
Would you, under your projected bracket, having allowed all 300 and whatever teams that are in, would you then do away with the conference alignment as well?
Well, you can have your conferences if you want. I don't have a problem with the conference because to me, what are the chances that unless you're a Duke or a Kentucky, there's the 6 or 7 programs that basically judge themselves by winning the NCAA tournament.
So you would keep
Gophers aren't. I don't think anybody this year is going to judge the Gophers basketball season by do they make the Final Four. If the Gophers manage to win the Big Ten, that's a huge feather in their cap, right?
Sure.
That's doable. Probably not this year, but you can see where Richard Pitino could win a Big Ten title in the next couple of years. And if Eric Curry hadn't been hurt, I think they could have won the Big Ten this year. I don't think they can now. I think they just don't have enough depth. But the point is that you can still play your conference, have your regular season. Because look, as fans that are buying tickets, I want to see them play Big Ten teams. I don't want them to just be, it's fun to be in there watching them play Iowa, Wisconsin, or Michigan State or Michigan. That's a lot of fun.
But
you'll get points and you'll be higher up in the food chain.
But the other side of it, though, and I don't hate your idea, but for me personally, I would much rather watch the Big Ten basketball tournament than Oakland play whoever to get from 364 to 200. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather watch teams that I've kind of grown up over. I would much rather watch that.
But to me, it's always bugged me that the winner of the conference tournament gets the bid. Now, the Big Ten, it doesn't usually matter unless some team from way, because the Big Ten, your top, last year, 7 or 8 teams made it. This year, the Big Ten might struggle to get 5 or 6. If you look at the early RPI, the early computer rankings, Purdue and Michigan State are up high, and the rest of the teams are all 40, 50, 60 range, including the Gophers. So if you want to play this out, other than Purdue and Michigan State, all those other teams, when they're playing 40 and 50, ranked team, you're not going to move up that much. But my point is when you play an 18-game Big Ten schedule, and next year it's going to be a 20-game Big Ten schedule, you've got those games.
Right.
And the champion has earned it, and I'd like to see it. So anyway, I just thought that was
like the fact, though, that Mike Davis said, screw it. We're just going to play all road games in the non-conference and get paid.
0-13, and right now they would be probably on most big boards as the team from the SWAC. So it kind of tells you it's kind of ridiculous. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Sam Bradford, back. We did just see on 1500 ESPN. I'm going to do a tease here. I hate when people do. When I'm a listener, God, I hate this, but I'm going to do it now.
Why?
Because you want to hear it once they bring it up if you're interested.
I see.
That Jake Dupuy of 1500 put together his all top 3 teams, all Gopher men's basketball of this century, since 2000. And my former Gopher Hoops weekly partner, Spencer Tollickson,
never heard of him,
is on the 3rd team. I don't know. I love Spence.
So that's kind of interesting. So he did 3 teams. 3 teams. So 15 guys.
15 guys, and then some honorable mention from since 2000.
Well, who was his starting 5?
I'm teasing it.
Oh, you jerk!
That's what I'm talking about. See?
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Well, wow. So Spence was on the 3rd team.
Spence was on the 3rd team.
Spence had a good career.
He did.
Now, did he do this like position specific
yes.
Okay?
Yeah, he did 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center on all 3 teams. So I like the way he did it. On this last, I saw today that Sam Bradford, and I'm now going to do one of these, what I would call like first take type discussions that I hate.
Oh yeah,
because they're stupid. Okay, but it's. There ain't much going on. So I'm gonna resort to some stupid conventions over the next hour and 15 minutes. Okay?
Lay it on us, Stephen A.
Yeah, it's that Sam Bradford is, to me, I think this is an interesting discussion, and one I hope we never have to find the answer to, because I think it's obvious right now that there's really, short of being injured, Case Keenum's playing, right? Because if he has a horrible game, they're out. Okay.
Right.
I mean, unless he has one Sunday against the Bears, and I don't think that would derail Case Keenum if he did. Okay.
Barring injury, he's your starting
quarterback. Barring injury. Yep. If they win the Super Bowl, it's going to be Case Keenum holding up the trophy. Okay. It just is. I suppose if he but the question is, let's say he gets hurt, and now you've got Teddy waiting in the wings, and now they're saying Sam Bradford might be better. Okay. We saw how good he was in game 1. When he felt good.
Yeah.
When he felt good, right? He looked great. And he played pretty well last year.
He was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week in week 1.
Yes. And so they're saying they're going to bring him back, I guess, next week. He's off IR. And so they'll have 2 weeks, presumably. There's basically a 1% chance, because like 4 things would have to happen for the Vikings not to get the 2 seed, including some major upsets. The Bears would have to beat the Vikings.
Which isn't going to happen.
The Bucs would have to beat the Saints. Carolina would have to beat Atlanta, but they're an underdog. Those are 3 straight underdogs. Carolina, that would no one would be surprised. And the 4th one is Atlanta would have to, I think, beat whoever they would have to beat. Who are they? Oh no, they'd lose. So I think those 3. There's like 4 things would have to happen. Because the Rams would have to. The Rams would have to lose.
The Vikings have the tiebreaker over both the Rams and the Saints because they beat them head to head this year.
And and they would lose the tiebreaker to the Panthers, but the Panthers would have to be ahead of the Rams.
The Panthers would have to win the division.
Yeah. They'd have to win the division, and they'd have to be the only 4-loss other team to win so you need the Rams to lose. They're favored, even though they're not going to play a lot of their starters. All the dogs would have to win.
So what we're saying is
4 dogs win.
It's highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. And plus, I don't think the Vikings are losing to the Bears.
No. Okay. That's not going to happen.
I think this is another opportunity to get Teddy some time, hopefully. That they'll be up enough in the 4th quarter they can put Teddy in and he can play a little bit, which would be good. Be good to get Case off the field early if you could.
Well, let me ask you a question though, because I saw that report that Bradford, Mike Zimmer said that Bradford will be back at practice probably next week.
Right.
Let's just say the Vikings get the number 2 seed. It's most likely going to happen. If you go into a divisional round game against whoever, whether it's Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, whoever it is, Obviously, Case Keenum's your starting quarterback. Nobody's questioning that.
Right.
Who would you feel more comfortable as your backup? 100% healthy or 90% healthy?
That's my first talk question.
With Sam, seriously, I'm taking Bradford. I haven't seen Teddy play he took a snap against the Bengals, but we haven't seen Teddy play meaningful football in 2 years.
And the one pass that he threw on the interception, he completely panicked. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that means much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just stating that as a fact, okay? He went back to pass, was jumping around like he had never been in a pocket before, and then threw a terrible pass. Now, that's just a fact. That's one play.
Mm-hmm.
Then he threw another pass that was a good pass. Okay, he threw 2 little easy passes. That doesn't tell you much at all.
And there's nothing to say that you couldn't have all three. It's unlikely, but there's nothing that you can't have all three active.
On that? Is it the rule that you can? I think you can activate 2, and then you can have an emergency third.
They changed it, though.
Did they? So now you either have 2 or 3.
I think they changed that rule this year. I forget who was. Maybe it was Seifert that was explaining to us, because somebody got into that situation. It might have been Denver when Simeon got hurt and they brought in, whether it was Paxton Lynch, whoever, and that quarterback also got hurt. I forget what team it was.
And they had nobody.
Because isn't the rule I think we're talking about is like as soon as your third quarterback comes in, the other 2 guys can't come back in.
Is that like my question is if you have to
look it up.
If you're the Vikings, do you activate all 3 and not have Slaughter there? Do they just activate 2? In which case, then you've made your choice? Or could you have all 3 there and then make the choice at the time? I don't know what they could do. But it is an interesting question. And I'll tell you what, I would agree with Reavers that, but again, here's the difference. It's almost like the tables have been flipped, Chris, because Teddy's been practicing. Ever since Bradford went on IR.
He hasn't been practicing.
Teddy's been practicing every week. And so to me, my guess is that's got to come into play where Bradford hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
And so he's only going to have 2 weeks of practice, where by that point, Teddy will have had 10 weeks of practice. So it might be more, but assuming all else was equal, I'd rather have Bradford, but they might be more comfortable going with the guy who's been practicing.
The third quarterback rule governed by the National Football League. The rule was abolished for the 2011 season when the NFL...
I'm right up on top of that then.
When the NFL increased the roster size to allow 46 players to dress for a game. The third quarterback did not count towards the team's 45-man active roster. If the third quarterback entered the game at any position during any of the first 3 quarters, the starter and backup became ineligible to play for the rest of the game. The third quarterback could have entered the game in the fourth quarter while preserving the eligibility of the starter and backup.
If I'm not mistaken, and I don't really study the inactive list, but I think the Vikings have basically rolled with 3 quarterbacks, right? I mean, has Slaughter been inactive all these games that Teddy's been there? I don't think so. So I think they go with 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go with 3, obviously Slaughter take a seat. You have Bradford and you have Teddy, and then you don't have to make the decision. You may never have to make the decision because you'd probably activate all 3, I would think. But I don't know. But it'd be interesting. But I agree that the real difference here is I think I'd rather have Bradford than Teddy, but Bradford has not practiced in a lot of weeks, and Teddy has practiced now 8 weeks or something like that, and then they'll have 2 more. Assuming they get the bye, which they probably will. We'll take a break, and we'll wrap up sports talk and come back with the Ride with Royce right after this. KC, my friend, do it all day. That's what I say.
Now, you are the one that said that you would hire them? That's right. That's
Until
right.
I saw it was going to cost me $220,000. And I wasn't. Would have been worth it if I had $220,000. If I was really rich.
How long would they have played?
Oh, probably not that long. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Did you actually investigate?
We called.
Really?
And said how much would it cost? And they said 100. And I said, I wasn't going to do 100 either. But they said plus expenses. I said, what that? They go, that's about another 150.
Oh,
yeah.
You mean you guys can't just come here by bus?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They probably need like the green M&M separated from the reds, and that sort of crazy
contract
stuff.
writer stories are the best.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what would happen. We are going to go next hour. And you guys, I didn't give you any heads up, but I'm going to do at 4 o'clock. I've got a list of 6, the biggest sports stories of the year in Minnesota.
Oh, we like lists this time of the year, yes.
And then after the break, I'm going to do the most disappointing stories of the year, and I've only got 5. So you guys I'll count them down. So just think about that. We'll do that at the hour. We'll also have
kind of a
Edwards.
feeling that I know what your number 1 disappointing story in sports is going to be.
My number 1 most disappointing. No, you're close, but not quite.
Okay.
On that, I am going to talk some Timberwolves next hour because I was intrigued by the story on Cheryl Reeve in the Star Tribune where they named her the sports person of the year, the Star Tribune. And I kind of thought to myself, I respect the job Cheryl Reeve has done as a fan. I like her. I like her personality. I like that she gets involved. But I thought, well, man, you've got such great players. But when I read that story, that showed me an element to her. I don't know if you read that story or not.
I did not. I saw it online, but I did not read it yet.
It talked about how after Philando Castile was shot, how she gathered her team and said, what do you want to do about it? And that she's really more than just a coach to this team. They trust her in a lot of ways. And I think that's an important part of coaching, and we saw it break down with Zimmer last year. And who knows if Tibbs has it or not? We'll talk about
the
that
leadership quality is what you're getting at.
Yeah, that the players trust you, that you're more than just somebody drawing the X's and O's. We'll talk about that when the ride comes up after this.
KSTP 1500 ESPN is KSTP St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's currently 5 degrees outside.
Put the national
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew. Roger that. Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can.
Wait, what rewards?
A Dew Operator Skin.
Man, I love operator skins.
Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points.
You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Soldier, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, roger that.
Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17 plus. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and free 28-23.